Good evening, everybody. Tonight we will be speaking in English because we have two very special guests that still don't speak Polish. And speaking Polish would be probably not so easy for our three. And I don't speak Arabic, so English is the most common language that we can have in this constellation. Welcome to the event organized by Salam Lab and by Multicultural Center of Krakow. Thanks to those two institutions, we can be here. I hope that there will be people out there. I'm not seeing the chat, so I'm not seeing if you are there. Please let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us, if everything goes right from the technical point of view. I have honor to introduce you today two special guests, two people that I met not so long ago, but from the first moment I knew that I would love to introduce them to more people, and especially to Polish people. Welcome Dr. Feras Alghadban, and welcome Asma Patel. Those are our friends who are doing absolutely amazing and absolutely needed work that has to be done right now in Lebanon. Guys, where are you right now? Tell me. Let's start like this.
First of all, I would like to say hello to everyone, and thank you, Anna, thank you, Salam Lab, to give me a chance to be with you and to speak about the Syrian and about the situation in Lebanon and in Syria. I'm right now in Lebanon, living here and working here.
Asma, where are you?
Same. I second everything Dr. Feras has just said. I'm currently in the UK. I'm British. I'm involved in the work and the organization that Dr. Feras runs in Lebanon. I was just there up until about a week ago, and I've just arrived back home. So back in the UK for a short while before my next visit back to Lebanon.
This is something that I really like about those online meetings. They are very democratic and everybody can join from different locations. We might be facing some difficulties with connection with Lebanon. This is something I'm experiencing a lot whenever I speak with Lebanese or Syrian friends in Lebanon. Hopefully not. Hopefully you will have electricity and network, but let's be ready for it. And then I will stuck to Asma asking her questions until you are back. Feras, you are Syrian. How did it happen that you ended up in Lebanon?
Yeah, I'm a Syrian doctor. I was in my town till 2017. After the regime army came in, I couldn't stay there. I left to Lebanon in 2017, and I couldn't go anywhere. I didn't have a chance to go anywhere after that time, and I stayed here like refugee.
So Lebanon is the closest place from Syria, right? People who were fleeing Syria, that was the closest place to get to.
Yeah, exactly. Like especially like there is many countries around Syria: Jordan, Turkey, Iraq, and Lebanon. The most like the closest place to our town and where I was living is Lebanon. So I came illegally to Lebanon through the mountain.
And you are right now in which part of Lebanon? Just try to imagine that we don't know anything about Lebanon.
Okay, now I'm living in Bekaa. Bekaa is from the south to the north of Lebanon. The far part from the sea. It's like beside the Syrian border. Most Syrian refugee living in this area. Bekaa also divided into three parts: North Bekaa, West Bekaa, and the Central Bekaa. I'm living between the Central and West Bekaa, where the most refugee living here in this area. Refugees.
How many Syrians live there?
In whole Lebanon, about like 1,350,000 refugees registered with UNHCR, but the number is more because there is many refugees that didn't register yet or they didn't get a chance. Um, in our area here, about 350,000 refugees.
And let's remind how many people live in Lebanon in general, just to see the percentage.
In general, there is about 4 million to 5 million. We don't know exactly. Yeah.
Which means kind of 1/3 of the country are Syrian, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Asma, how did you meet Dr. Feras? You don't have to get into details, but what connected you?
So I was involved in I guess volunteer work. As a British person, we are always looking, many people who are interested in humanitarian work and the different crises that are happening outside of the UK and outside of Europe, as it were. I did some volunteer work in France, in Calais, when lots was happening quite a few years ago, and that led me to kind of go further afield. I was always interested in the Middle East. I didn't speak Arabic, but I really wanted to be able to learn and utilize that and utilize some of my skills from my previous career, which led me to Lebanon. I actually went to Lebanon in 2017, around the same time that Dr. Feras had arrived, but I was volunteering in Beirut for a Palestinian organization, and I was just visiting. It was my first time. I left, and a year and a half later, I was looking for opportunities to come back. And I came across this organization on Facebook. It was a page that was up for about 2 or 3 months, and the co-founder that founded the organization, Endless Medical Advantage, she had posted about a project, and they were looking for someone to help develop it, help kind of get the project going, and support Dr. Feras on ground, as he was the only one leading the organization on ground at the time. So it was a whim. I wanted to get involved in some way. I applied, I got in touch, and they seemed to like what they heard. And they asked me to come along, and I visited in January 2019. I was originally to come out for about 3 months, I think it was, to come and help coordinate and see kind of what we could do. It was a very new organization at the time. But things changed within the first 2 weeks of arriving, and almost 3 years later, I'm still very heavily involved and very much part of how the organization has developed and supporting Dr. Feras to really do what we can in healthcare and humanitarian work in Lebanon.
Let's explain more. Endless Medical Advantage, the organization that you are both deeply involved in. What does the organization do? Why endless and why medical?
Yeah, because I'm a doctor. I was living in Syria. I was in surrounded area for 2 years. No medical care in that area. The people they were suffering a lot, especially in the medical part and healthcare part. I was the only doctor who is helping the people in my town, in my area in Syria for 2 years. Um I I came here. They forced me to come here or to escape because I cannot stay in my town. I want to do something. I want to do the help to help the people in many ways. I was dreaming about in this advantage, especially in the medical part, because which I know and understand more than anything. So I like this name, and I selected this name that maybe will give me hope always to develop and do more and more and more how much I can to the people, to anyone who need us anywhere.
Asma, how do you understand the endless part? We cannot hear you.
I do that all the time.
We
For
all
me,
do.
for me, it's it's very similar, I guess, just in a slightly different way, that it's kind of a service and almost a duty that never stops. And I think that reflects Dr. Feras as a person, as who he is. When I met him, and when I met lots of people who'd worked with him previously and in other volunteer projects and as part of the community that we work in Bekaa, they know him because of his literally endless commitment to being on call and available and ready whenever it's needed. And I've seen that time and time again. The people have seen that, and that's reflected in the ethos of the organization. So it's very much about continuing to provide and consistently being able to provide for the advantage and for the benefit of the people. And when I say the people, it means every single person involved. Our communities that we support, both Syrian and Lebanese, including Palestinian in Bekaa, the team that work with us who are predominantly from the Syrian and Lebanese community, as well as the supporters and donors that we have from all over the world. So it's really reflecting across kind of everything that we do, but without ever stopping. Sometimes that sounds difficult because you need to catch a break, and you will burn out. And hopefully we've put some measures into place, especially for Dr. Feras and the rest of our team. But the fact that we are always active and available is, I think, a testament to what the co-founders and especially Dr. Feras has created for the organization. And I think it's one of the reasons why it is so successful and so well loved on the ground in Bekaa.
How does your day look like, Dr. Feras? You get up and what happens next?
It depends on the time and the season. Sometimes you don't sleep too. I'm joking. I wake up at morning, early morning. Go with the team on the ground sometimes. Sometimes I try to go and to be mobile by myself, go to the houses because our mobile clinics go to the camps. And it depends on the time. Now in the COVID time, I'll try to go and check the COVID patient. We try to split our teams into two, one for the COVID and one for the primary health care. We start like this the whole day. Now because I'm managing, I have like some meetings and some stuff to do also. I have to be like online sometimes. Yeah, stay the whole day, see patients, answer the calls, respond to the people. Uh, Sometimes stay the whole evening or the whole night. It depends because I don't close my phone. I leave my phone always open, and I cannot like I feel guilty if I do that. And it's necessary to answer and respond to the people, especially like because the health staff is here in Bekaa or in Lebanon in general. It's bad and not that good, and there is no public hospitals. All the hospitals here are private. So if they have any small thing, they have to go to a hospital and they will pay a lot of money, which they don't have. So I cannot like, close my phone always. Like when I want to do that and I want to rest or relax, I feel guilty. So I open it after 30 minutes.
And meeting patients means going from house to house, or you drive, or how does it physically look like? Because
Yeah, go.
you don't have one big hospital where people come to you, right?
Yeah, most of the time we go from house to house and we go to their houses or to their tents. Is the band. At the same time, like our team working on the ground, they are doing well. Also, we have like many international volunteers. I want to say thank you to everyone who volunteered with us. They are so great, and we have like a really great team. Also, they are doing like so well and getting like now very hard time for the situations working than before.
But this endless element, I can only imagine, yes, if all those people there in Bekaa, they don't have access to private hospitals, or they would if they would have money, but they don't have enough budget for things like this. It means that there are always people in need, right? There is no moment that you could say, yes, nobody needs me right now.
Yeah, of course, like there is always need, especially the emergency things. There is like I get many calls. I don't need to go. Just I can tell them what they should do, or I can send to them medication. The other people I have to go and respond to them, or I need to see them in any way. There is many patients. Sometimes they need help in hospital and emergency. They need like we need to use our contact to speak to get like cheaper price or to find for them place in hospital. Sometimes the hospital they are full, we cannot attend any patient. It depends on the situation. So you can't say emergency in everything, and we need to respond. And there is always need for the medical here in Qatar.
How many people you meet every day?
It depends from day to day. Like sometimes I see 30, sometimes 40, sometimes 20. But in general, all our team we see about like from 150 now to 200. Also, it's then like the whole team. Yeah, for me, it's take from me time because I'm going from house to house and from place to place, and it sometimes far from each other. Yeah, now we are trying to have a fixed center, so the patient who are able to come to the fixed center and far from our mobile clinic, they can come. So in this case, we can see more patients and we can like solve many problems in short time.
How many times we would need to clone Dr. Feras to fulfill all the needs that are in Lebanon?
I didn't understand.
Uh, how many Dr. Ferases we would need to fulfill all the needs?
To be honest, there is like many people like Dr. Feras trying to do their best, and I'm trying to do my duty, and I feel it's my duty like a doctor. Uh, Especially in the last year because of COVID and economic crisis, um, and the small hospitals here in Lebanon, the expensive medication, and they cannot find medication. So we have more calls and more response to the people, especially the Lebanese. Now they need us. So we feel it's like part of our duty to respond to the Lebanese and part of our duty to see the Syrian and part of our humanitarian duty to respond to all the people and to answer. And we need to do something. We are able to give. We have to give. There is many people doing like this response, going, trying to help. Um, but maybe I have more support from the volunteers, from our team, from Asma, and all the people who is supporting us from outside. So I'm able to give more, not like the other people. It's the different, but we are all trying to do our best here on the ground.
And I would like to encourage everybody to ask questions in any moment. I will try to incorporate them in our discussion. I have enough questions, so don't worry about it. But if you have something in mind, if some of the element of our discussion was especially interesting for you, just feel free to write in the chat. Firas, you talk about Lebanon that it's not an easy place to bring such a medical help because of the lack of public hospitals, because of economical crisis. Could you say a bit more about this reality of the country? Why is it so difficult in Lebanon?
In Lebanon, you can feel like politically it's not stable. So this reflect on the people on the street and the refugee who's living here, all the people who's living here. You can see this like nothing is stable. In the same time, the economic crisis that they had 2 years ago till now, it's affected like a lot of the people, the salaries, everything expensive. The people cannot afford uh, their food, they cannot offer their healthcare. It was before like about 80% from the Lebanese, they have insurance, health, medical insurance. They can go for free in hospitals, but now most of the hospitals trying to escape from this and not attempt people inside because the government will give them money on 1,500 exchange rate, but the exchange rate now is about 22,000 Lebanese lira for $1. So the hospitals now saying not to tell the patients we don't have space, we don't have contracts for scanners, we don't, the scanner is not working, saying not to give the treatment that people really need because maybe the government doesn't give them money. I don't know what is the problem exactly. Uh, Also, COVID make this like more bad and worse more than before. COVID like in the last winter, I think like 1 year ago or less, the situation was so crazy. Many COVID patients um, here and no hospitals, no place in the hospitals for them. It was like so hard time for all the people, for the Syrian and the Lebanese, Palestinian, everyone living here. Uh, Uh, Also, the electricity problem, no electricity in the whole country, and the areas where there is electricity is now very expensive because uh, uh, the petrol and diesel now is expensive, and they are taking their electricity from the private companies. Here they are providing them with the electricity, and they are taking a lot of money, which the people cannot provide and give to them. And the salary is still on the exchange rate 1,500. Uh, the person who had like salary $1,000, it was like 1,500,000. Still till now take 1,500,000, but which is now about $50, and everything like expensive like on dollar because they import everything from outside here in Lebanon. They don't like produce anything, and it's a big
Mm.
problem for other people. So now you can see 80% like from the youth is living here are poor and they cannot offer their needs every day.
Asma, from your perspective, what are the challenges of running your very important work, but in really not easy place?
I think I think it's always been challenging just because Lebanon has always been a difficult place, you know, for 10 years or more now. The crisis in Syria has has meant that the needs for the people in the country have increased, have been continuing to increase. But the last 2 years have really accelerated challenges for everyone across the country. I think one of the biggest problems in Lebanon is that they do not give Syrians the rights to work in the majority of kind of vocational industries. So, you know, as a doctor, you cannot practice as a doctor in the right way. As a lawyer, you cannot practice as an engineer. As in most industries, there's only a few spaces that Syrians can work, and that's farming, construction, generally labor work. So instead of utilizing these resources, it's become more difficult, and that also poses kind of risks for people who, you know, want to practice and want to help and do whatever they can, not to make money, but actually to live and provide. But there is a risk of being arrested or possibly being sent back to Syria because it is so close. So I think that challenge has always remained. I think the last 2 years, with all of the difficulties that Dr. Feras has mentioned, have really exacerbated and really accelerated those. But for now, for us as a healthcare organization, to give it some context, we were able to provide a huge number of medication for a large number of patients, but we were seeing an average number of patients, maybe 50 patients a day or 60 patients a day in our mobile clinic. And we were able to visit 2 to 3 camps on a daily basis. Now our team go to one camp. They usually stay there the whole day, and they don't see any less than about 150 patients, if not more. Because of that, the amount of medication we require, the amount of resources and supplies we require is increasing. but the cost of that for a lot of medications, because they're imported, and the rate of the lira attached to the dollar has changed what that looks like. So for us, you know, a bottle of paracetamol for children, which is a big need at the moment, has increased about 300% in price, and that's one of the least increases. We've got some medications that have increased over 600% in price. So our work is dependent on spending money, and majority of our funds go towards the medication that we provide, the transport of our clinics, to maintain those clinics, and then to support our team with stipends. But that is ever increasing in a climate where the needs are only going to grow more. And because of the kind of lack of services, the lack of access to private care, more and more people are visiting services like ours, because they are one of the only choices available. So we have never been busier, and we realize that our services are so essential and important. But at the same time, if it stays like this in Lebanon, it's not sustainable, because, you know, today the price of the medication has increased 300% compared to 6 months ago. Tomorrow it might increase 400%, and we don't know what next month will look like. So it's really kind of managing those days, and it really is month by month, as opposed to planning, as many organizations do, you know, a month in advance, a year in advance, making 3 to 5 year plans. For us as an organization, it's something we cannot even think about, because the day to day and month to month is really changing in a really dynamic climate.
And you work mainly with Syrians in Lebanon, right? Dr. Feras, you said that you also serve Lebanese people if they need that, but majority of your patients are Syrians.
Yeah, majority of them Syrian. Our patients, like I think before this year, they were about 30% Lebanese, 70% Syrian. Now I think between 40 to 50 of our patients are Lebanese. And this time, just I want to say something about Syrian refugee here, maybe that the Lebanese government, they don't consider us like refugees. In the law, we are guests, so we don't have any rights for like refugee. We don't have any rights. And I want to say also like something, when we say refugees and camps, the people will think that most of the camps here, the UNHCR or the big NGOs covering the cost of the rent for the land or something. No, here like the people paying for their rent for the land where they are putting their tent, where they are living. They are paying money for their electricity, monthly rent and monthly electricity. They used to pay for their water. Now there is some NGO providing them the clear or fresh water to use for cooking or for daily needs. Yeah, just I want to mention this like to be clear, because there is, most of the people, when we say camp and say refugee, that they think like there is many people supporting them. They are paying for their rent. They prepare for them the camps. There is many refugees. They pay money to for their tents, to do construction to their tents and to build their tent. They pay like for the wood. They pay for the uh, everything to have that like small tent which will not protect from anything. I think like when it's cold and when it's winter or when it's like very hot. Here in Bekaa, the weather cold is like
Firas, could you tell us what is happening in Syria now? There are people who like to say that the war in Syria is over, everything is fine, people can go back home. Why don't they go home?
and it's impossible. Like most of the people which they left Syria, they cannot go back because most of them they are wanted to the regime there in many ways. I think now when anyone go and walk on the street in Damascus or in the cities, they will not see any men in the street because most of them they are arrested inside the prison or they are serving in the army. And if they not go, they will arrest them. The people like left because the situation was so bad. It's war. They killed every day, bombs everywhere. Many people that lost their children or some member of their families in front of them. They couldn't do for them anything. Most of the people escaped. They cannot go back with their memories. And the situation is still in Syria so bad till now. And I think that worse than than before. The people cannot they cannot uh, get their bread. There is no electricity, no gas, no diesel, or for heating. We have the heating system in Syria and in Lebanon. We have to use diesel or wood, and they cannot get the wood or the diesel. But the same like Lebanon now. It's similar in some ways,
And
and it's not safe. Still not safe because you go there like every checkpoint they have their they can't give their they have their law. They can't stop anyone and they can't arrest anyone. They can't take anyone. There is no law in the whole country to that can like really control or so the people feel like unsafe and unstable. They are living there like most of the people who are living there. If they will have chance to go out the country. They will because it's so bad and they cannot it's so difficult. They cannot live there. Uh, uh, they left everything open. They didn't like do anything for COVID patients or for the people. So also you can see like the people dying every day. Um, the medical care I think like still more better than Lebanon in Syria. I don't know why, but still we have like in Syria some public hospitals, but
mm.
still it's not enough to all the people who's living there.
And why the world is not talking about Syria anymore?
I don't know. Like sometimes we feel the world like want from us to be in this position. They want from us to be a refugee. They want to kill us. Sometimes, like refugee, I'm saying what I feel sometimes. They want just to kill us. We don't need the Syrian. We need to finish from them in any way. So they are doing this. I know they can like apply pressure on the regime there, or they can do something, or they can take refugee, and they have. It's their duty, I think. And we are human. We didn't come like from the forest. We are not. I think sometimes they deal with the animal more better than they are dealing with the refugee in many places, which we feel like it's so difficult and so hard for us. We have the rights. We don't get our rights like in most of the places and most of the country. Um, yeah, this is our situation, and like Syrian, if I want to speak like about our history and how we were and how these people, I think now, if you ask like many international volunteers when they come to the camp and they try to go, they will see their hospitality and how they will see that these people who are living in this tent, how they want to give anything to their guests or to anyone like come to them like guests. We have this culture and we have this traditional, but we can't find anyone like, or not anyone, like most of the countries, they can open their countries for us. They build for us like sometimes, and we are paying for this land. In most of the country are paying the rent for this land. And
I can completely confirm all of it. I think I never experienced more hospitality than between Syrian refugees in Lebanon in my life. It's it's absolutely the truth what you are saying. And are there people still fleeing Syria now? Are there
still,
people arriving to Bekaa from Syria?
yeah, exactly. They don't have another choice, and there is especially the young men, the young boys, which they are 18 or maybe 19. They escape from serving the army. They don't want
Mhm.
to kill
To
or to be
die?
killed, to die exactly, or to kill. We don't want to kill or don't want to be killed. We don't want to be in this war. They escape, but like like here, they cannot find jobs. They cannot do anything. So the situation is so difficult also for them. It's not easy. Sometimes like some people they prefer to die. No, we stay there. خلاص, the regime will kill us, and we will die, but we don't need to have this experience. to go and live in a tent, and we cannot get our food, and especially those who have like children and have family, they cannot also provide for them anything. So the situation is not easy at all. It's like so difficult. Uh, and, and we are speaking like I don't think the people will get the idea of this because they didn't experience it, and I hope nobody will experience this. What happened with us because it's so difficult and it's not easy at all.
Thank you for saying it in such a way. That's one of this favorite arguments of anti-migration narration in Europe. People are asking, why don't they stay and fight for their country? And for me, this answer of why should I die or why should I be killing people? This is it's very, very important. I think for people who didn't experience it, it's just impossible to even imagine what you are talking about. But thank you for sharing this thought.
Exactly. If we need to fight, who will fight? We'll fight the army who forced to be army against us or to kill us. Is the problem like if my brother now in the street, they will take him, they will put him to serve the army, he will come to kill me. So he should kill me and I should kill him. This is what happened now in Syria.
Yes.
So like most of the people, they don't want to have this experience and they want to escape. They want to. I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want anyone to kill me. The people are trying to escape from this because like they force them, they arrest them, and they don't have any choice. They will take them. If someone like escaped from the army, they will kill him. Like there is something. It's really like strange and not normal. So, but the people like will not risk their life to be a refugee. They will not risk their life and leave everything to come and live in a tent. They will not risk their life. Maybe they will die on the sea. There is like something more bigger and more harder for them to do this.
To do this. Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And when people arrive to Lebanon, like you yourself, or like people still coming now from Syria to Lebanon, and they face this reality harder and harder every month in Lebanon because of the economy, because of many different reasons in Lebanon. What then? What if they cannot manage to survive in Lebanon? Where do Syrians go from Lebanon? Asma, maybe you can tell us something.
I think year by year since the beginning of the crisis, the situation has changed. Prior to, and I think Dr. Feras can confirm the dates, but prior definitely to kind of pre-2014, there were more opportunities for people to apply for visas to certain places. Some places were still open, some places were still a little bit easier, a bit more accessible, maybe not easier, but a bit more accessible. Post kind of 2014, 2015, lots of things started changing. The crisis in Greece, Europe's borders, neighboring countries, Turkey's situation changed. But those were the main places that people were trying to get out and get away. To be honest, I don't think anyone really had an idea of a specific country or a specific place. From my understanding, from my interactions with people I call family now in Lebanon and all over the world, like my Syrian friends and family, it wasn't that they wanted to go to Germany or they wanted to go to the UK or go to France. They wanted to go where they could get out and maybe try to build a future and try to build some kind of life where there wasn't a daily risk or a daily challenge of life. So getting on a boat and crossing the sea and challenging in that way, trying to put together thousands of dollars for a visa that may or may not be accepted to then take an onward path from their illegal routes into kind of Europe or other places. It's really where an opportunity arises, if an opportunity arises. I think post 2016, 2017, most of those opportunities have become almost impossible. Even getting visas to Turkey have become more and more harder, which was one of the easiest, more accessible options. I don't want to say easy because it's never been easy. and getting visas for anywhere else is, I mean, almost impossible. I think the last few months, and you're very aware, and we've seen it now in some of the international media, some of that has been changing. There's been doors opening. Egypt have been providing visas, Belarus have been doing that. That's been leading more people, I think, now coming from Syria to try to take this route if they can put together the funds and have enough money to get a visa, get a flight, and see what opportunities open when they get there. But as soon as an opportunity arises, people are almost fighting to try to take that chance, because it's some kind of hope. Whatever that hope looks like, they're unsure, but it's a hope. And I think it's based on everything Dr. Feras said, that it's better. It's better than whatever they've already risked and whatever they've already lived through.
Yes, as you know, I'm now on the Polish-Belarusian border, and I'm daily meeting Syrians that came from Beirut. They were flying from Beirut to Minsk, sometimes knowing what they might face, sometimes not being aware of how difficult the situation is. They are buying trips in the tourist agencies, as they call it, and the agents promise easy way, yes, to fly to Minsk, and then in few hours hike, be in European Union. This is what I'm seeing now every day here, and this is absolutely not my. I don't have any right to judge any choices of people. I just see that people are very often not prepared. The Lukashenko regime was lying to them, saying that the border between Belarus and Poland will be open, or that it's easy to cross. And now I see consequence of it. Do you guys, both of you, do you know somebody who made this route right now? Do you have any information about it?
I think from 10 days ago, yeah, we have some people, they were able to do it, but now it's so difficult, and nobody could. They tried, but they couldn't.
Yeah, it's getting really worse and worse and worse. And sometimes I'm thinking that exactly what you said, Asma, that when some opportunity opens, of course, people, especially after years of suffering, they will try to take it. And it's not surprising at all. We have a question. Why? Okay, about why Syrians don't go back to Syria now. I think this we already covered. Shaza wrote, I would say, apart from political and safety reasons, the conditions of life in our country have become very difficult in terms of economics and education, and everything related to achieving a good future for youth. I understand that Shaza is in Lebanon or in Syria. I'm not sure now. There is no question here. That was just a comment.
Yeah, if I can speak about this comment, like
Sure.
this, the misunderstanding. Now, like all, we are like in a political game everywhere. Belarus like using us, Turkey maybe here in Lebanon, the politicians. So always they say because of Syrian we have the economic crisis. Because of Syrian we have this. Because of Syrian the school is closed. Because of Syrian we don't have enough space in the hospitals. Just I want to be clear about this, and about this point that is very important. UNHCR they bring like about yearly budget, which is about to I don't want to say the numbers, but 60% of this money which came to come to UNHCR here in Lebanon, 60% of this money goes uh, to Lebanese community and to the Baladiyas around, and to everything to cover the expenses, and 40% goes also to the Syrian across projects, not directly to the Syrian. And in this project, like Syrian, we cannot work. So most the people who is working in this project they are Lebanese, and they are taking these salaries and this money For the schools, like 60% from the Syrian, they don't get any education, and the 40% they get education in the schools in the afternoon, which also UNHCR they pay for the teachers, and the teachers they are all Lebanese, they are not Syrian, and not that like good quality education. All the yeah, it's not education. You can say if you ask, they don't know anything. That children because to be honest, like we feel like they don't care. And also I want to say like there is many Syrian renting houses here, bringing like money from outside from their families. If they have families outside, they are supporting them. They are getting like support from many NGOs. All this money like come inside and support the Lebanese community. But I don't know why there is misunderstanding. And USCR also they have cards. They are giving the many families, Lebanese families, like the Syrian. And we have to know, they think like here the problem also like the Lebanese community, they think all the Syrian, they take support from UNHCR their months and they cover all their expenses and they cover, now I'm speaking here and openly, like the UNHCR covering from 1,300 from 1,350,000 people. They are covering 600, I think 60 or 70,000 people. They used to give them $27 for 2 years per month. For
$27.
$27 per month on exchange rate 1,500.
And those are the lucky ones, yes, that get this.
Yeah, until 2 months ago, they used to give them like in the last 2 years on the exchange rate 1,500, and then after 1 year they gave them on the exchange rate I think 4,000, which is it was like $5, not $27, because the exchange rate is different from time to time. Now they are giving them about $15 per month, not 27. So not all the Syrian take support, and not all the Syrian are able to access the medical care. Not everything in the medical care supported from the UNHCR. The primary health care is not supported. There is many chronic diseases like cancer, thalassemia, kidney dialysis. There is many. They don't covered by the UNHCR. And UNHCR supporting the Ministry of Health in Lebanon. Many NGOs supporting the Ministry of Health in Lebanon here because the Syrian, because they are supporting the streets, cleaning the streets, supporting in many projects here to help the Lebanese community to be able to take this number of Syrian. So I think we are not a problem here in the country, and we are helping, and they didn't give us a chance to be productive in many ways. We hope all to have a chance to be productive, to be able to create and do something. We are good in many things, and there is many people they are talented and they have many things they can do, but they don't have a chance. We
You
couldn't
are a
before.
great example of it.
Thank you.
I think, sorry, I just want to, based on what you've just said, I think that really clearly demonstrates why after 10 years of people living in Lebanon having fled Syria, when this opportunity, especially now, and now, it's very apparent with what's happened with Belarus, and maybe it's closing, but even 10 years of living and not being able to build a life or build really anything, when an opportunity came up, they decided that, okay, we will try because there's nothing for us here in Lebanon either. And that clearly, it's a very clear example as to why some of those people are making some of those decisions. Not easy decisions, but, if in 10 years, what's another 10 years going to bring if nothing really changes?
Yeah. Guys, I know that you've been lately in Poland. Dr. Feras and the whole organization, you were awarded a special prize. Can Can you tell us what prize was it and how did it happen? How did you find out about it? And then how was your trip to Poland? I think we will watch it. Great. In the room.
Dr. Feras, you're on mute.
Sorry. This the Polish prize of Sergio Vera Di Mello, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights.
What did you think when you found out about it?
It was like really so great chance. I was so happy. I would like to say thank you to everyone, especially in the Heritage and everyone, and to Vella and to all the people in Krakow. I didn't expect this. It was so nice and good chance to visit Poland. I didn't expect this hospitality and this great people, great city. Really like I left some part of me there in that city. It's so beautiful, and I like the people. They are so great.
Asma, how did you like Poland?
It was my first time, and again, it was really unexpected. Lots of my Polish friends had warned me that Poland can be like this, and Poland can be like this, and you don't know what kind of response you will get, and Krakow is like this. But it was so warm, so welcoming. Such a wonderful experience, especially as part of this award and this organization that hosted us, and really just being able to kind of see parts of work that's happening outside of the on-ground humanitarian work that kind of we're involved in the Bekaa. It's very hands-on, it's day-to-day in refugee camps and tents and so forth, but there's so much work being done outside of these contexts, but for these communities itself. We were able to meet incredible activists, organizations, people. Through that, we were connected with you, and really learning about what is happening outside of that, and the incredible types of people who are doing this kind of stuff. And it was a good friend of ours who nominated Dr. Feras for the award and worked behind the scenes to ensure that he won. And he did, and then to kind of get the visa, which is unheard of in a really short amount of time. It all just happened very quickly, and then to be able to go and be recognized and to be awarded and welcomed with really open arms, it was a wonderful experience.
I think it was absolutely deserved. And when I heard about your experiences, and then when I remember my experiences of visiting Lebanon and meeting with Syrians there, I feel that it would be such a valuable experience if we all could be doing this on a more regular basis. Those Poles in Poland that never met a Syrian and are afraid that if they meet somebody crossing from Belarusian border, oh my God, what will happen if 10 of them will come or 100 of them will come? And then going to Lebanon and seeing that 1/3 of population is Syrian refugees. And well, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not an easy country, but it's still existing, and people can be still friends and support each other. And Dr. Feras can be a doctor for Lebanese in need too. I just wish that we have world like this. I see a question from Usama from Syrian border. Can I join? I guess it's a question to you. If people can join your work, and I would like to open this question a bit more to what can we all do? How can we join you in your work? What Polish people and what Europeans that are listening here today, what can they do for the Endless Medical Advantage organization? Tell us, be open about it, don't be shy, just tell us what we can do for you.
To be honest, like we had big support from volunteers. They came, they had good experience with us.
Volunteers means it has to be people with medical education? Let's
Yeah,
just clarify it.
we had volunteers with medical and non-medical also. They helped us in many ways. Um, we had a good experience with them. Also, they had here good experience. Most of them they went back to their country and they started supporting us and donated us in many ways. Um, I think it's a good way, but also now in this time, especially this hard time, we need more people on the ground, especially medical on the ground, and we need more medication because the situation like every day is more bad and worse from before. Yeah, I don't know this from my opinion. If Asma has any.
Yeah, much of the same. I think it is twofold. It's having the bodies on the ground. At the moment, we're prioritizing medical professionals. We've been overwhelmed with volunteer interest, and we're trying to make sure we can have enough people to come in and support, because the capacity really is stretched for the team. So if people are interested, they have a medical background, we will share our contact details, our webpage, to contact us and apply and get in touch, because we're more than happy to have these conversations and have people come and work. And to come and support isn't just to provide that medical support. It's really taking an experience away. It's learning about these communities, learning about these people, learning about the situation. And then the important work starts thereafter when you go back home and you talk to your friends and you talk to your families, and that leads to various other things. We've had people who've supported us, they've done fundraisers or they've collected medications from their local hospital where they work, and um, sent that with friends who are coming to Lebanon another time. And on the other hand, the financial and economic situation in Lebanon is diabolical, and it's becoming more and more challenging. You know, we're hopefully going to do a winter appeal, and we're going to continue to raise money. I'm in the process of applying for grants and on open funds to see how we can kind of continue our efforts and really try to bring more medication. But really, alongside kind of physical support from people, we definitely need more donations to really support the big needs that are needed right now, and that is the high number of medications.
I think we will post links to all what you are talking about under the discussion on the Facebook page for all who are interested in joining you guys in Lebanon. Are there any minimum? Is there any minimum time that people can come to join your teams?
No, I mean, coming to Lebanon, we would always ask people to at least come for a couple of weeks just so that you can acclimatize and get to know the environment. But, you know, if people have got some time to give, any time is really better than nothing. So we always have those conversations and informal chats to find out what works best for us and what works best for them. But any questions, they can always reach out, and I personally deal with most of our volunteer interests, so I will definitely get back to anyone who contacts us.
So who wants to get in touch with Asma, there will be contact under this chat. And as you heard, donations are always welcome to support, to help you helping others. Well, 1 hour is over. It was a real pleasure to introduce you, Asma and Dr. Feras, to Polish public. I think if you ever have some questions, if you would like to find out more about situation of Syrians in Lebanon and in general of Syrians everywhere, you can always reach out to us. Salam Lab and Multicultural Center of Krakow are doing amazing work in this topic. We shouldn't stop talking about it, about who is doing good work where, not only talking about difficulties, but also about successes. I think Lebanon is very lucky to have you guys. Thank you very much for your time, for connecting, even if you had to switch off your phone, Feras, for a bit and feel guilty that you are not working right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
It's an honor to us to be with you. Thank you so much, really, for everything. Thank you to Salam Lab, and hope to see you here in Lebanon again.
Thank you, Asma.
And again, same for me. It was really a pleasure to be able to speak and discuss. And thank you for inviting us. And hopefully look forward to joining you again someday.
Thank you.
Thank you.